Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever heard of Hollowbrook House? Nestled in the heart of a quaint, picturesque village lies an old residence shrouded in mystery. This is Hollowbrook House, a charming dwelling that has stood silent and desolate for decades. Its once vibrant walls now echo with tales of the past, of a haunting that has left the house abandoned, its story whispered in hushed tones amongst the locals. The village, a peaceful haven of tranquility, is overshadowed by the looming presence of Hollowbrook House. The whispers of its haunted history are as pervasive as the morning mist that rolls in over the village. The eerie silence that surrounds the house is broken only by the occasional caw of a raven or the rustle of wind through the skeletal trees. The villagers avoid the house, their eyes filled with an unspoken fear, their words carrying a warning to those who dare to approach. But not everyone heeds these warnings. Meet Sarah, a young woman with an adventurous spirit. She's not one to shy away from a challenge, especially when it comes to the unknown. Sarah, drawn to the whispered tales of Hollowbrook House, decides to delve into the mystery herself. Despite the cautious advice of her friends, she is driven by an insatiable curiosity, a yearning to uncover the truth that lies beneath the rumors. As Sarah stands before Hollowbrook House, the reality of her endeavor sinks in. The house, with its decaying beauty and spectral ambience, looms ominously before her. The chilling wind seems to whisper a warning, the creaking gate a forbidding welcome. But Sarah is not deterred. She steps onto the path that leads to the house, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. And so, with a deep breath and a determined heart, Sarah steps into the eerie world of Hollowbrook House. She is about to embark on an adventure that will take her deep into the shadows of the past, an exploration of a haunting that has remained untouched for decades. Driven by her curiosity, Sarah was about to experience what no one else dared to. Inside Hollowbrook House, time seemed to have stood still. The air was thick with a musty scent, a testament to the decades of abandonment. Shadows danced in the corners, toying with the faint light that dared to peek through the cobwebbed windows. This was not an ordinary house. It was a forgotten relic, a silent spectator to the passage of time. Sarah found herself wandering through the rooms, each filled with the faded remnants of a bygone era. Dusty portraits hung on the walls, their subjects gazing down at her with an unnerving intensity. An old chandelier hung precariously from the ceiling, its crystals reflecting the pale light in a spectral dance. It was as if the house was stuck in a time warp, waiting for the return of its long-gone inhabitants. As she ventured further into the house, Sarah could hear the creaking of the floorboards under her weight, the sound echoing through the silent rooms. It was a symphony of creaks and groans, the house seemingly protesting against the intrusion. Then, a strange whispering seemed to surround her, growing louder as she climbed the creaking staircase. It was as if the walls themselves were whispering to her, their voices carried on the stale air. Sarah paused, her heart pounding in her chest. Was it merely the wind, or was the house trying to communicate with her? Each step up the staircase felt like a step into the unknown. The whispering grew louder, the shadows darker. The atmosphere was heavy with an eerie anticipation. The house seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for her next move. And then, silence. The whispering stopped abruptly, replaced by an unsettling quiet. Sarah found herself standing at the top of the staircase, her heart pounding in the eerie silence. It was as if the house had revealed a part of its secret, only to pull back, leaving her yearning for more. The walls held secrets, secrets that Sarah was about to uncover. In the dusty corner of an upstairs room, Sarah found an old diary. It was a worn, leather-bound book, its pages yellowed with time. The diary was marked by the name Emily. As Sarah gently flipped through the pages, she was drawn into a world of yesteryears, a world filled with happiness, love, betrayal, and ultimately, tragedy. Emily, the diary revealed, was a young woman of beauty and grace, full of life and laughter. She was the heart of Hollowbrook House. But beneath her cheerful demeanor lay a secret, a forbidden love. Emily was in love with a man her family disapproved of, a man from a lower social class, a man they deemed unworthy of their daughter. Despite the societal constraints and the disapproval of her family, Emily's love for him only grew stronger. She wrote of stolen moments, of secret rendezvous, of promises of a future together. Her words were filled with longing, with hope, with dreams of a life together. But Emily's dreams were never to be. The diary spoke of a fateful night when Emily's family discovered her secret. In the ensuing confrontation, Emily was betrayed by the very man she loved. He left her, leaving Emily heartbroken. In her despair, Emily's life took a tragic turn. Her vibrant spirit faded, replaced by a profound melancholy that consumed her. The diary entries became less frequent, the words more desolate. Emily's world had crumbled, and with it, her will to live. The last entry in Emily's diary was a heartbreaking farewell. It was a plea for forgiveness, for understanding. She wrote of her undying love, her broken dreams, and her deep regret. Emily's tale ended in tragedy, her spirit forever trapped within the walls of Hollowbrook House. As Sarah read the last words of Emily's tale, a faint sobbing echoed through the house. It was a sound of pure grief, a lament for a love lost, a life unfulfilled. It was the sound of Emily's sorrow, forever etched in the haunting history of Hollowbrook House. The sobbing grew louder, leading Sarah to a hidden chamber. As she pushed the creaky door open, a chill ran down her spine. Before her stood a ghostly figure, a woman shrouded in an ethereal glow. The figure bore a striking resemblance to the Emily whose life was etched in the diary Sarah had found. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum as she took in the sight. The ghostly woman, clad in a faded gown, was weeping. Her sobs echoed through the chamber, a lament that seemed to carry the weight of centuries. Sarah noticed her sorrowful eyes. They were hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with an unbearable sadness. The air in the room grew colder, and the musty smell of the house became more pronounced. The silence that followed each sob was deafening, amplifying the sense of unease. Sarah felt an inexplicable connection to the spectral figure, as if drawn into her tragic tale of love and betrayal. For a moment, their eyes met. Sarah saw a flicker of recognition in the ghost's eyes, as if she had been waiting for someone, waiting for her story to be heard, her truth to be acknowledged. The pain etched in Emily's spectral face was palpable, and Sarah could feel her heart aching in empathy. Then, as quickly as she had appeared, the ghostly figure began to fade. Her form grew translucent, her sobs began to wane until all that was left was a chilling silence. The echoes of her sorrow lingered, a haunting melody that was now etched in Sarah's memory. Sarah stood frozen, her heart pounding as the ghostly figure faded into nothingness. The encounter, although brief, had left its mark. The tale of Emily, her love, her betrayal, and her tragic end had come alive in the most unthinkable way. In the silence of the hidden chamber, Sarah was left with the echoes of a life once lived, a life marked by sorrow and love, a life that continued to haunt the hollow halls of Hollowbrook House. Terrified, Sarah fled from the haunted Hollowbrook House. The echoes of her frantic footsteps reverberated through the night, a chilling symphony of fear and desperation. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum, each beat a stark reminder of the ghostly encounter she had just experienced. As she distanced herself from the ominous silhouette of the house, she dared a glance back. The once charming old residence now seemed to leer at her, its darkened windows reflecting the moonlight like soulless eyes. It was a sight she would never forget, forever etched in her mind's eye. In the days that followed, Sarah found herself haunted by more than just the memory of Hollowbrook House. She could not shake the feeling of being watched, a sensation that sent shivers down her spine. The tragic tale of Emily, once confined to the pages of an old diary, now seemed to manifest in her everyday life. Every creak of her home, every whisper of the wind brought her back to the chilling encounter. She could still see the sorrowful eyes of the ghostly figure, hear the faint sobbing that echoed through the abandoned halls of Hollowbrook House. The experience had left a profound and lasting impact on Sarah, a haunting aftermath that seemed to follow her wherever she went. While she had sought to uncover the secrets of Hollowbrook House, she had instead unearthed a ghostly tale that refused to be forgotten. The house stood undisturbed, its dark secrets once again hidden within its walls. But for Sarah, the haunting was far from over. As the days turned into weeks, the whispers among the villagers grew louder. The haunted history of Hollowbrook House had gained a new chapter, one that was etched in fear and mystery. The tale of Sarah's encounter with the tragic spirit of Emily became a part of the ghostly lore that surrounded the house. The tale of the haunted Hollowbrook House and the tragic spirit of Emily continues to haunt the village, a chilling reminder that some secrets are best left undisturbed. The echoes of the past still lingered, a haunting aftermath that continued to cast a long, eerie shadow over the picturesque village.